I walked into an empty pizza restaurant without a reservation. I just moved to Seattle, a relatively busy city. While exploring some local restaurants, I walked into a nice-looking pizza spot in Cap Hill. It didn't look busy at all, so I went in and asked for a table for my wife and brother. The host asked me if I had a reservation and I replied, no. He then told me that they wouldn't be able to seat us that evening. A bit surprised, we walked outside and assumed that they were all booked up and we were early. Out of curiosity, I hopped on Talk, a reservation website, and saw that the pizza spot had openings for the next hour. We then decided to book a table in 10 minutes. Waited, then walked inside. A bit annoyed, the host approached us and asked if everything was okay. We then smiled and said, yes, thank you. We have a reservation for a table. Visibly embarrassed, he walked us to our table, then proceeded to give us the best service of all time. Super friendly guy. Hey management, the reservation only rule might be why it was empty. I think the waiter was doing a malicious compliance on you. I'm sure his boss told him to do this. Company rules can be so stupid sometimes. XD, I feel for the host and am glad op was nice. Many years ago, my wife and I went to a local mid-scale themed restaurant for a late lunch. It was a Sunday, as the brunch side was packed, but the table side had not a single customer. We were asked if we had reservations and said no. The hostess immediately had a very distressed look and called multiple people over to help her. We ended up in a two-top table that was blocking a main aisle. It was also the smallest table I have ever seen in any restaurant. We thought that maybe they were booked solid after brunch. We took our time, with the meal lasting 1.5 hours. No other customers were seated during the entire meal. The food had gone downhill since our last visit a few months earlier. When we left, I spoke to the manager and told him we would not be back and why. He shrugged. 2 months later, they closed down. Husband and I went to a local restaurant at time of opening. 5 p.m. Not one car in parking lot, but we were told by snotty front person that we could not be seated. They were booked full. We left, but I accurately predicted they will go out of business within a year. It only took 6 months. I often wonder if owner knew why his business failed, i.e. how offensive she was to the customers. I had a similar situation, but the place was full. It was just after COVID lockdown ended and people were allowed to go out again. Most people didn't know what places would be open or closed, so like us, many just wandered the city looking for a place to eat or have a beer. My wife and I saw a place and there was a line for it, and we decided to go to their website to see if there would be a table available later that evening. To our surprise, there was a table available that very moment. Not sure if someone had canceled last minute or what. We made that reservation, but being sure we would get to the door only for them to say that they wouldn't accept it. We went in, asked about it, and the waiter said, sure, your table will be ready in a few minutes. I would have reserved 2 sittings, each for one person. I don't he would have even noticed, given he would have had a booking in his system after having just told you that you needed to book, yet still asked you if you had one. There are so many pizza places in Capitol Hill. I would have just walked a block and found a different one. I'm surprised you did all that. Out of spite I would have left and never returned. Why give them business at all if they're being so unaccommodating? Honestly, if you're a reservation-only place, it should be standard to be like, we don't do walk-ins here, but I can make you a reservation for insert reasonable time frame, but also like, come on. People are gonna walk into an empty restaurant, why reservation only? We went to a high-end casino for breakfast as the pandemic was winding down, and were asked if we had a reservation. Despite the place being less than half filled, the host out our name down on the list and acted like she was doing us a favor by seating us. I had this happen to me a few months ago too. So silly. If you're one of the owners of that restaurant, wouldn't you want to get as many customers as possible? Seems like a training issue to me. Super friendly guy. After you showed him up as an a-hole. If he was truly friendly, he would have either told you how to make a reservation on the spot or just faked it in his system. An open table is a money loss for the business. There's no malice in this compliance. Going to be honest, I would assume that this was a drug front and lead. Like, you walk in and they say you need a reservation to sit in an empty place? They aren't selling pizza. Time to move on. I guess pleasantly surprised you got pizza. What was malicious about the compliance? You did exactly what the restaurant wanted after learning how it works. I did the same with a UK chain called Toby Calvary. Fine to ask us with our 1-year-old to wait an hour, but with the app I was seated in 5 minutes. Dicks. You should try Mario's Pizza by Bimbo's Taqueria on Pike. Killer New York style. Good atmosphere and no reservations needed. VF and I once were in the city and saw a nice Indian restaurant. Lots of empty tables. No reservation signs. Told us every table is reserved already. Went 200 meters down the street to another Indian restaurant. When we walked the tables were still empty.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.